Welcome to Just an Average Fantasy Football Podcast.
Welcome in to Just an Average Fantasy Football Podcast. I'm your host, Daniel Hayes, with Matt Bagger.
That's me.
You can find us at avgffpod.com. And we just add something new that I figured I realized I could do as I become more and more of a computer programmer. I'm going to be hacking the Pentagon before long.
Learning, allegedly, hit the button.
Hold on. But I can embed a player on the website. So if you go to the website and you scroll down to the bottom of the home page, there's a player there with our, so many podcasts.
It shows a bunch up on there. You can scroll the list.
And you can just click right there on the website itself.
For your listening pleasure.
And convenience. Yes. You can just listen there. It'll be from the Podbeam, which is where we distribute from. It is from their app or whatever. So, but anyway, as Baker said, go there and flick the bean.
Flick that bean, baby. Flick that bean. I wish there's certain things in life that make you wish you were famous just for little things to be known. Like, I mean, could you imagine how much fun it would be to get credit for it? Somebody else is going to come up with it that's a little more known than I am, and we're going to be like, look, we did this, and it's not going to matter. But I just think it's a missed opportunity.
I don't think it'll ever happen because it's too lewd for a podcast distributor. But I love it,
man. Just up in the top, it just says flick, and that's how you go message people.
It says it on a little bean.
Yeah. It's like
and it says flick, like written on the.
It
curve.
Doesn't say it. Like it's just it leads to that. Like
yeah,
to that, you know.
And when you flick the bean, then the podcast comes up and starts playing.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It sends. It's how you send messages back and forth to the other podcasters and shit. Or that's how you do likes.
No, that's how you do your listening. That's how. Yeah, when you want to bring the podcast player up, you tell that way. If I'm an advertising firm, I can be like, "Hey, everybody, just go to such and such and flick the bean." So
it'd be great. That could be like
that was my FM radio voice.
That was more of an AM radio voice, but yes, you're correct.
This is 9969 nice. WXNC the nice. I don't know.
It works.
It is 420.
Go flick the bean.
It's time to flick that bean.
That's correct.
All right, here we go. Let's get to stuff that isn't lewd or weird. All right, a little bit of news. Let's see. Did we come up with a news thing? I think it was this one.
Let's go. Yeah, that works.
Yes. I don't know if we'll be like, let's go. And then I'm like, Austin Eckler's in the concussion protocol. Make a note somewhere
let's
that we
go. I'm Brian Robinson.
Yeah, we need to find a news sounder. So
news sounder.
Yeah. That was that whole reason for creating a Slack channel that we've still yet to start using.
Hey, we got this.
Anyway, Austin Eckler is in the concussion protocol. He also has a lacerated ear.
Ooh.
For anybody who cares, Jeremy Nichols was who came in for him and was the backup running back. But I don't know if he misses. I don't know how much value Nichols is going to have, but I know that Brian Robinson is going to go to the moon.
Yeah,
he's already
pretty much been the moon. So, I mean, right now I think Eckler is the backup. So
yeah, but he looked good until he had to leave.
Yeah, he did look good this game.
Adam Thielen to the IR with his hammy, so he'll be gone at least the next 4 weeks. Now, this is I guess Trash Panda news, but I thought it would be interesting just based off the fact that like 2 games ago he had like 8 catches and 13 yards, but Britton Covey is to the IR.
Yeah.
So go ahead and hit the you know which one for the Trash Panda news.
Yeah, I'm looking at it. I know what it says too, and I just can't read it.
I think it is. Yeah.
Oh my God, who the hell cares?
I love that we have to pause.
Oh, wait,
to
look,
do our,
go
yeah,
get,
go
go get.
We're,
All right, hold on right here, guys.
Yeah, we're a well-oiled audio medium. Okay,
We got this hammered. It's like a finely tuned mechanical engine.
I'm gonna start over. So for some Trash Panda news, Britton Covey is to the IR.
Oh my God, who the hell cares?
There we go. Now we're
Nailed
cooking.
it. Nailed it.
Evan Ingram is uncertain for week 4, so it doesn't. I don't know. It doesn't look good. And are you gonna do it? No. Yes, that is sad.
One of these days, my finger's going to work too. I'd have nailed that timing had it worked out.
Tyler Huntley possibly could start week 4, which to me is the best case scenario for any of the pass catchers on the Dolphins.
And Achin.
Yes,
Somebody that can threaten the defense a little bit downfield.
Yes.
I want that all day long.
Najee should be good for week 4, but Warren is iffy. That is a direct quote from.
He's in concussion protocol too, right? Warren is.
I'm not 100% sure on that because I didn't read the analysis.
I got you. Yeah.
I just read the headline.
I'll look at it. I just was like, I was thinking I automatically assumed he wasn't going to play this week because I thought he was.
I thought it was a knee with him, but Jordan Addison is hopeful for week 4. So anybody who's been sitting there looking at him as out when you're benched for the last 4 years.
All the time.
Kareem Hunt has been elevated to the active roster, so I imagine he will get some playing time this week. What that means, I don't know. It's really going to boil down to what Kareem Hunt still has in the tank. I thought that Steele looked okay, but there was no explosiveness out of the backfield. So if Kareem Hunt still has any juice, he could theoretically come in and dominate the carries. So,
yeah.
And so did you find anything on the?
It is his knee. He's day to day, but
Okay.
There was somebody I was looking at. I swear that's like they're in concussion protocol. They're not going to play next week. So.
Yeah, well, I know.
I don't remember who it was.
We brought it up yesterday. McBride was in concussion protocol. We don't have any update on that.
Yeah.
Cooper Kupp's going to be out week 4. Jordan Love is still limited. We don't have any update on that. Let's see. CMC seeing a specialist. I did hear why he had to go to Germany to see the specialist. So the treatment that he's getting for the injury that he has in Germany, wherever he went, that's like their specialty, and the injection or whatever he's got to get, he can get more of the medicine in Germany than is allowed in the United States.
So it's more of an unregistered, but unregulated.
Yeah, either that or they don't. I don't know if it's unregulated, but I think whatever the reasoning is, that's why they went to Germany. They're like, we're going to go over there where we can just juice up this leg and try to get this thing going.
Get him going.
Let's see. Having no update on Tank Dell yet. And Laporta's still nursing the ankle, so he's still up in the air. Wednesday, we'll get a lot more information when these teams start releasing their injury reports. So we're just kind of going off of beat reporters' news right now and what little bit the coaches are saying in their press conferences.
Yes.
So, all right. From there, let's hit on that Monday night review. Well, I got to turn that down because if I hit that horn, it's going to blow everybody's speakers.
We're all going to be deaf. Next week we'll be like, and then yelling into the mic and everything.
All right, so I'll go ahead and take the L on Christian Kirk. I don't know how many fantasy points he scored. He was one of my don'ts, but he balled. So I know he had a good night last night. They got him the ball. They made it a concerted effort. I mean, it didn't really help any.
He had a lot of targets. I don't know if he actually did that well, though.
Yeah, he got a touchdown, too, I'm pretty sure.
Did he?
I don't know about that, but I know that he...
I don't think... Because the only touchdown they scored was to the tight end, so you might get a pat on the back here. Okay, he got 8 receptions for 79 yards. So
yeah.
He's still kind of ball way better than he has done. So.
Yeah, and better than what a don't should. So I'm true. 2 out of 3 again. But I hit my smashes all but Jonnu because I had Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase. They both smashed against Washington.
They smashed out. Yeah,
and so I'll take I'll take this. Let me first do this on the Christian Kirk. I'll take my punishment, and then I'll get this on the. Thank you. All right,
nailed it.
All right, so let's talk about those games though. So we missed I missed most of the action for the Buffalo game because it was all done in the first 5 seconds of the game.
Yeah. By the end of the quarter, it was like Jacksonville's not even here to play. So
Yeah,
let's put Mitch Trubisky in and let him play a little bit.
Josh Allen had his way with the Jaguars, and James Cook dominated. Ty Johnson dominated.
Everybody.
Even Davis came in and got a touchdown.
Yep.
Shakir, who looks to me like the if you want one of those wide receivers, he looks like the one you're going to want.
Yeah.
In that offense right
as
now.
far as consistency and everything's concerned, yeah, definitely. He is their guy. He's the one guy right now.
Yeah, because if you look at it, I mean, he's not playing all the snaps, but he's getting targets out there. And guess
he gets
what?
most of the targets, yeah.
And he catches all of them.
Oh, yeah, he catches almost
No,
everything
seriously,
that's
he's
up
caught every target this season.
there. Oh, has he?
Yeah.
So he's the Rashad White of wide receivers for that team?
He was 3 for 3 week 1, 5 for 5 week 2, and 6 for 6 last night.
It's just getting increasingly better. Next week will be 7 for 7. Week after that will be 8 for 8 and 2 touchdowns, and it's going to be balling.
Yeah, he's been the wide receiver 25, 31, and 18 in whatever league this is.
Working his way up.
Yeah.
And that's on a so this is 2 games so far this year where they've had absolute dominant leads superbly early. There we go.
Yeah.
And there's no need in throwing the ball. Like Josh Allen doesn't really even have to be there after the halftime in the last 2 games against Miami and against Jacksonville. There was no need for him to play after halftime in either game. So we're lucky he actually played after halftime in this game. But yes.
So right now he's on pace for 79 receptions.
Khalil is?
Yeah, Shakir. And for the season.
So if he catches all those.
Well, no, that's I'm if he's on
Figuring
pace
up,
for,
yeah.
I mean, obviously he's still on pace for 79 targets too, but and we'll tell you how many yards that comes out to. Nope, that's not right. Doing math. Only 952 yards.
So just under 1,000 yards.
Yeah, but I mean, still good for a wide receiver 2. Low wide receiver 3.
Like probably a middle wide receiver 2. I mean, depending on touchdowns too. I mean,
yeah.
If he gets 6 touchdowns added to that as well, I mean, he could easily creep his way up into 28.
And apparently,
overall.
Keanu Coleman was being punished last night because he did not play the first quarter because he was late.
Oh.
So that's why we missed most of the first quarter because we were trying to finish up last night's podcast. So, but I heard today that he was being punished, and that's why he didn't play the entire first quarter.
Gotcha.
So that could have changed everything as well. The Jaguars, dude, what has happened?
I don't
What
know.
is
Nobody can catch. I want to put it all on what's his name, but there was Gabe Davis has the biggest brick hands, or he had the biggest brick hands last night I've
2
ever
for
seen.
6, yeah.
It was so bad. Like,
Well, he's the only. Well, Brian Thomas had 5 for 9,
and that's what I'm saying. Like, it was
but
like,
everybody else did good.
it was like, I don't know. And a couple of these were crucial, like first downs that would make a difference in the
Yeah.
game.
Strange was 2 for 5 though too.
Yeah,
So.
that's what I'm saying. He had brick hands as well. It was just ugly. I don't know. What I saw of it, yes, there was a couple that, like we even talked about it. Christian Kirk's, like he had 2 that were in his hands.
Yeah.
And we're like, that's not Lawrence's fault. But
yeah.
That's game changing.
But he only missed 2. He was
Yeah.
8 for 10. So
That was the 2 that we were yelling at him. He shouldn't have missed. But I mean, that's what I'm saying. Like, I don't know. It's yes, the team doesn't look great. They're not coming down with what they should come down with, and their run game isn't superb.
The
like it was
defense
last
is
year,
doo-doo.
too. Defense is absolute garbage. Yes. So
I don't know. I
but
think
they're-
some heads are going to roll this week. I don't know if a coordinator gets fired.
something
but,
turns up.
Yeah, I think somebody's going to have to pay the piper. And if it isn't this week, it's going to be next week.
Yeah.
If they continue to play this way, because I don't think they're going to put up with it much longer. I think Doug Peterson doesn't make it through this season if they continue down the route they're going down.
Yeah, they look like 3 year ago Jaguars again. Like it is ugly. It is. Ugly.
Well, it's the crazy thing about it is they paid all this money to Trevor Lawrence, and then now he's out there looking like Bryce Young,
yeah.
but with a strong arm.
A little better than Bryce Young, just a smidge.
But
Just
next
a
week
smidge.
they've got the Colts. The Colts are their defense is a good medicine for a struggling team. So
Yeah.
they could get back on track and
Make a little bit up.
to save some jobs. The Bills are obviously rolling. They're absolute. I mean, just dominating right now. And then you had the Commanders at the Bengals. That was a good game. It came down to the end of the game.
Jake Daniels looking like truth out there, man.
91% completion.
Yeah, just
20
looking
over
like
for
truth.
23 for 254 yards and 2 touchdowns. He hit that pass at the end. So I saw on TikTok, I saw where McLaurin was like, he went and told Kingsbury, he's like, if I'm 1-on-1, throw it to me. I'm gonna hit a go and just throw it to me down the sideline.
Yeah.
And they're like, all right. It goes like for the game. And they were like, all right. They went. So basically, McLaurin called his play, called his number, and then Jaden Daniels put it right in the breadbasket.
It was beautiful.
It's perfect. He hit he hit a lot of perfect passes. Obviously, if you complete 91%.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
But that 50-something yarder, 55 yarder,
55, 56.
Yeah, that he hit McLaurin with was right there too. I mean, McLaurin had to slow down just a hair. That's what got him caught. But I mean, when you're throwing it that deep and that accurate, it's.
That's what a half a step. It would have been a touchdown. I mean, it was in his hands in stride. It was nice.
And Burrow finally got on the scene. He was like, they're like, Andy Dalton's the only quarterback this season to throw for 300 yards and 3 touchdowns in one game. And Burrow's like, hold my beer, because he threw for 300 yards and 4 touchdowns.
Yeah,
but he still got that L, and they're not looking great as a team. Their defense is baby doo-doo.
Yeah, it's pretty bad. It is pretty bad.
And they've got, so here's their upcoming schedule. They've got the Ravens, no, they got the Panthers this week. Now, generally that would be a gimme, but if you look at how both teams played last week,
yeah, well, that's
all of a sudden you're like, maybe the Panthers, because they're at Carolina with Andy Dalton.
Yep.
Revenge game, if there's any narrative there. And so that's definitely not a gimme. So let's just say they take the L at Carolina. Then they got the Ravens at home. And then then they got the Giants week 6, and then they got the Browns, and then they got the Eagles. So it's like, if they don't start getting some dubs pretty soon,
they're definitely going to have to work something out.
Yeah, and a lot of it, I think, especially based off of last night, it was off of that defense because, I mean, Jamar Chase balled. Yoshi Voss, that dude looks legit as the third receiver there. T. Higgins had a bad night, but he had basically a wide open pass in the end zone that was Burrow's fault. He overthrew him just a little bit. T caught it, but it took him out of bounds. So had he caught that, he would have had a touchdown. So I think he's going to be fine moving forward. But but the real thing interesting is Washington. I heard today that they're the only team in the modern NFL to go back-to-back games with no turnovers and no punts.
No punts.
Yeah. And so their offense is clicking right now. Daniels is killing it. Eckler being out is going to hurt some for sure. He looked great. He had 3 carries for 35 yards and a tud, and then he caught 2 passes. But I think Brian Robinson will be fine. Nichols will spell him. They may pick somebody up depending on how long Eckler's going to be out. McLaurin looked great. If we can start getting the ball to McLaurin, that's going to be fine. It'll be like finally.
Yeah.
And then we just got a hodgepodge of receivers. So it's going to be interesting to see who emerges out of this group of McCaffrey, Brown, both Browns.
Noah and Diami.
Diami Brown. I don't really consider Zacchaeus or Crowder much of a threat to emerge. So I really think it's about McCaffrey, Noah Brown, and Diami Brown. And I don't know that anyone's really going to take that third receiver or that second receiver job per se, as much as this is just going to be a mixture. And then Ertz looks good out there for what he does. And then, I think Ben Sennett's going to become more and more involved. He was wide open on a play that would have been like a 60-yard touchdown last night. But Daniels didn't see him.
Still, they're definitely coming together collectively.
Yeah, it's crazy what they got going on there. So we'll see what they're going to do, because their upcoming schedule is they got the Cardinals this week, and then they got the Browns, Ravens. Those two are going to be 2 tough games. And then they got Panthers.
Their biggest downfall, I think, right now. I mean, their offense looks pretty good, but their defense is still kind of weak. So they're going to be.
Their defense is atrocious.
Yeah.
Which for fantasy, that's great, because that with a great offense with a shitty defense is absolute gold.
Oh yeah, because they're out there 60% of the time.
Yeah.
And the defense is only out there 40% of the time. Just losing it.
All right. So there we go on the Monday night review. The Jags suck and Allen goes ham. So let's, also the Bengals suck.
Yeah. Bengals.
And Daniels goes ham.
Exactly.
All right, so from that, let's hit on some key games. So let's back out. We're going to hit all the primetime games. So we'll kick it off with the Thursday night game. We got the floundering Cowboys against the rising Giants. The Cowboys and Giants are both 1-2. Andy Dalton, Daniel Jones has looked serviceable the last couple games. I wonder if Dak started getting things together in that second half, or if it was like
the defense
just backed off. I don't know, but they fought back in that fourth quarter and actually had a chance to win. It took getting an onside kick and then needing to get another one to do it. But either way, they did fight back. They did show some life. Devin Singletary's looking fairly serviceable out there. I mean, he's 10 carries for 37-yard week 1, but he's had 16 for 95, 16 for 65. The next 2 weeks, a touchdown in both weeks, and he had 4 catches last week and 4 catches week 1. So, I think he's somebody you can start and feel pretty good, especially against this Cowboys defense, which has been terrible against the run.
Yes,
but I know somebody you're kind of looking at is Tracy. His snap percentages are still relatively low, but last week, I mean, he is a rookie, but last week he did get 5 carries for 23 yards. He looked great, and he caught 2 passes. Mm-hmm. So he could be somebody that I wouldn't say he's anybody you're going to put anywhere in your lineup, but he's somebody you need
right now.
You need to keep an eye
somebody
on.
to monitor. Yeah, that's
the Cowboys running back situation right now is abysmal. Zeke is a drop in most leagues, I would say. I really just don't want anything to do with him unless I'm super desperate. Rico Dowdle has slowly been taking over that job, and he out-snapped Zeke, and Zeke only played 19% of the snaps last week. So, I mean, granted, they were behind, and it turned into a passing game, but
it's hard to really trust anybody in the back, but like to say I want this guy in my lineup, you know.
I'm staying away from that backfield, but
it's pretty spread thin.
Yeah,
every one of them, none of them are playing over 50% of the snaps. None of them are getting any kind of line share of the carries.
Yeah,
and none of them are doing like amazing with what they do get. But nobody's that pass catcher that Dak needs. If that makes sense, you know what I mean? Like when Zeke was kind of priming it out, and we started hearing a lot about Pollard, he was more the pass catching. That's where he got his, for lack of a better term, eliteness,
right?
You know, in that kind of season. But
he's like 105 years old, so
yeah.
I mean, Zeke's definitely lost a few steps, and Dowdle isn't a world beater. It's like we consider talking about how Dowdle's better than Zeke right now, but that's not saying a lot.
Yeah, it's that's what I'm saying. The whole backfield is just minimal.
God, if they would have just drafted Braylon Allen.
Oh no, yeah, I bet they're
God.
kicking themselves right now.
I'm kicking them.
Yeah, because he would be a starter, and none of these guys would be relevant.
He would be dominating.
He would definitely be smashing.
CeeDee Lamb, you're throwing him in there. The wide receiver situation after CeeDee Lamb for the Cowboys has become pretty interesting. I have been grabbing Tolbert in a lot of places.
Same.
Jalen Tolbert is 9 targets, 5 targets the last 2 weeks. He only caught 3 of those targets this past week, but he did catch a touchdown. He has caught the eye of Dak, but Turbin's also, you know,
sneaking in here.
Yeah,
and there, yeah.
He's getting roughly 25% of the snaps the last couple of games, but he's involved when he's out there, and he's a very explosive player. You got Jalen Brooks, who's, you know, 2 weeks ago he played 40% of the snaps, and so I don't know. You know, Brandon Cooks used to be you could be comfortable playing him. I mean, he's still averaging 80% of the snaps, but
he's just not getting the targets.
Yeah, he's not getting the valuable targets. So I don't know. I would still play Cooks probably if I had to over any of those other guys, but it's definitely, I think that you're always looking for trends and how are things trending. And I think right now things are trending in a negative way for Cooks. So
I'd play, if I had Tolbert and Cooks, I'd play Tolbert before I put Cooks in.
I can't get over. I mean, Tolbert's still only 25% of the snaps, and Cooks is 80%. Last week.
Yeah, I just feel.
And Cooks also still had, even though he didn't have any production. He still had 6 targets last week.
It's,
He only caught 2 of them. He just didn't get a touchdown. And they're not very deep targets, but I would rather take the 80% snaps and instead of hoping that somewhere in
Tolbert played 86 and 75 both last 2
Yeah,
weeks.
that's true. I just realized that. I was thinking of Turbin's snap percentages, so maybe you're right.
I mean, I think it's this security safely. He's had 2 good solid weeks on the shoulders of 2 bad
and
weeks for
his
Cooks.
depth. I'm going to retract that because when I was thinking of
His yard per catch, his average.
I was thinking about Turbin's
Turbin,
snap percentages, but
Kevontae Turbin is uber fast. He needs to be involved
Yeah.
more, I think. But they use him in the kickoff returns and stuff. So,
but Tolbert seems like he's becoming more of the number 2 receiver there. So, I mean, of course, you're playing Ferguson.
Yeah,
On the other side, you play Malik, and Wandell has been a volume play. He's not really doing anything great, but he did get 8 targets, caught 7 of them for 61 yards, no touchdown. But he's not killing you, And so
all 3 weeks, really. I mean, it's been.
I feel like you can play him,
serviceable.
and that's it. You can play Neighbors, obviously. That dude is a badass. And I feel like you can play Wandell, and then I think you fade everybody else, and then you stay away from the tight ends.
I didn't even realize they had tight ends.
Daniel Jones doesn't realize that they have tight ends.
Not at all either. Yeah, no.
If you have to stream this week, Daniel Jones, it wouldn't be a terrible play, but I wouldn't expect a ton of upside. If you can get 17 points out of him this week, you're going to feel good about it. And so there's that on the Thursday night game. Let's see here. The Vikings at the Packers. Big NFC North battle. You got Big Dick Darnold out there slinging it and doing what he does, and then hopefully you got Jordan Love coming back. But even if not, I mean, they have Malik Willis looked great, and their game plan with him has been tremendous.
They're using him the right way. I think they're taking a lot off of him.
Yeah.
And making him do what they want him instead of like with the Tennessee. He just always looked like he was just floundering, running around like a fish out of water the whole time. So
I mean, I wouldn't want to play Malik Willis in fantasy just because of how good Minnesota's defense is. I will play Jordan Love, obviously, but I would, as far as being competitive, I think Green Bay can still compete in this game if they have to play Willis.
Yeah.
I'm playing Aaron Jones. I'm playing Josh Jacobs. Wouldn't be above playing Emmanuel Wilson in a flex play if I had to. His snap percentages have basically doubled, and he had 12 carries, 50 yards, caught 2 passes. And Jacobs, I don't know if he's nursing something or what the deal is, but he
was questionable coming into the game. So,
Yeah.
I mean, it's one of those where.
I mean, he's still got decent volume. He just didn't do a lot with it. So,
Yeah.
I mean, I'm still playing him. I'm still hopeful and all that. Ty Chandler, he was somebody we thought was, trending towards being somebody you could play in a flex based off of 2 weeks ago when he had 10 carries for 82 yards. But then last week he reverted back to being garbage. So I'm probably fading him.
Yeah.
Justin Jefferson, what are we talking about?
We
Of
don't have
course.
to, he's going to be out there.
Yeah. Jordan Addison, if he's healthy, I'm going to put him out there. I don't know about Naylor. Naylor is hit or miss if I'm desperate. I mean, he has been getting the targets without Addison out there. He's been getting 4, so that's not terrible. And he has
A touchdown every game.
Yeah, my bad. He has had a touchdown every game.
I don't know. He seems to be a favorite of Darnold's in the red zone. Not, I mean, of course, it's always, even Justin Jefferson's been like the long bombs. Or the big touchdowns.
Jefferson's always in the red zone.
But Naylor seems to be that comfort because I don't know that the tight end isn't really there for them. I don't know how big is Naylor.
Well,
He's 5'11", 195. He's not a big dude. So
Munt is the tight end right now because
Hawkinson.
Yeah, is hurt. So
I'm just looking at like who else could be that red zone, hog, and Naylor seems to be the one that's there. I mean, it's 3 weeks running. He's had a touchdown in all 3 weeks. So on very minimal targets too.
Yeah.
So
I'm definitely playing Reed. Reed looks to be quarterback proof. He's still getting fairly decent work. I mean, he's obviously going to be better if Love's in there, but he's the only receiver I'm going to play out of this group if Love does not start. But if Love does start, I'd be willing to play Watson and Dobbs, but that would probably be it. but Reed is your man in this one. And then Tucker Kraft is somebody I had hope for coming in to this season, and he really hasn't had the opportunity to do a lot. So I'm still hoping that they're going to utilize him a little bit more. But I'm right now, none of the tight ends in this game I'm playing unless I'm freaking desperate.
Super desperate, yeah.
All right, there's that one. So let's go to next game we're going to talk about here. Let's talk about the Eagles at the Buccaneers. The Eagles are the ugliest 2-1 in the NFL right now. I feel like
True.
I figured their offense was going to be a lot more dominating. Now I know, AJ Brown's been out and all that, but
Devontae went out this last game. He missed.
He's in concussion protocol as well.
That's who it was.
Yes.
Sorry. Yeah, that's who it was.
That's two podcasts. I didn't have him in my notes from the last podcast
or this one. Yeah.
Or this one. So yeah, Devontae Adams is in.
Devontae Smith.
Devontae Smith is in concussion protocol.
Yes.
And so we haven't got any update on that, but I can't imagine he plays this week.
Yeah, so more than likely he'll probably not play this next week.
Yeah, so that's going to be interesting. AJ Brown, hopefully he gets back in, but there's no update on that either. So
this could be a Jahan Dotson situation.
And Big Johnny. This could be
Yeah.
So that's definitely something that needs to be monitored. Barkley is going to absolutely be utilized till his legs fall off in that case against Tampa.
Yes.
And Dallas Goedert, he's a must play at this point based off of what he did last week.
100%.
I mean, he hasn't been terrible to start the year. He, he had 4 catches, 3 catches, and then 10 and 170 yards last week.
Yeah, he monstered this last week.
Yeah, and he's playing all the snaps virtually. So
yeah,
he's a guy you're throwing in. Obviously, I mean, if Brown's playing, you're playing him. So but the wide receiver right now is we need more information to sort that out. And so I didn't want to act like I was skipping over that. So let's see, Baker Mayfield against Philly. Yeah. I mean, Carr was supposed to go good against them last week because Philly's secondary is generally trash. So hopefully Baker gets back on track against Philly this week. You know that size about, right?
Yes.
Rashad White.
It's Rashad White.
I don't want to play him. Thankfully, I don't have him.
Yeah, it's tough
But
for me.
if
I have him
had
a couple places. But
I don't want to play him. The only upside is that I hope that he gets 6 targets.
Because he'll get 6 catches
Yeah.
and 10 yards.
Because that's the only value. He's not getting any value running the ball.
Yeah, not at all.
He's averaged 2.07, 1.8, and 2.83 in the 3 games he's played rushing the ball.
Yep.
I mean, that what that means? He's rushed the ball 31 times this season for 66 yards, 2.13 average.
Gradually less than the game prior.
Yeah.
They were working him out of the workhorse and Bucky Irving.
Yeah. Bucky, but here's the thing. We think that.
Yeah.
But Bucky Irvin's snap percentages are the same. They're just using him more when the 30%
When he's out there. Yeah. They're just using him more.
Actually, no, they're not. He's had the same usage. Week 1, he had 9. Week 2, he had 7. And week 3, he had 9 carries.
And he's averaging 7 yards a carry, though, isn't he? Or some craziness like that.
He's averaging, he averaged 6.89, 3.14, and 7.78.
Yeah,
so,
he's
and so
overall.
I don't think he's trending towards taking this job like everybody's thinking. We'll have to look and see what happens because the Buccaneers have to know Rashad White is absolute garbage can at running the ball.
Running the ball, yeah.
Yeah, and that Bucky Irvin is far more explosive.
But here's the thing, though, you got to think, too. Even on 9 carries, he's still fantasy viable and worth it.
Oh, yeah, 100%. I would feel fine playing him.
It's only going to take one game for him to break away for a touchdown and everybody to go,
it's going to happen.
And it's just going to turn over. And
he's averaging 6.16 yards a carry.
Yeah,
it's inevitable at some point he's going to break a touchdown.
And they're using him in the pass game a little bit.
Yeah.
He's still viable out there. I mean, he's not as efficient, or he's just as efficient.
Yeah, I would absolutely be cool with playing him in a flex.
Oh, yeah.
Chris Godwin, this dude, he showed up this season and chose violence. He is just he's everything we've been needing him to be for the last year or so.
Another guy who's got a touchdown every single week he's played. So
he is currently in a half PPR the wide receiver 3 on the season.
Oh wow.
Yeah, he's caught 21 of 25 targets, and he has 3 touchdowns. Yeah, he's in your lineup. You're not even going to question that. Mike Evans, yeah, you're playing him. That guy's a Hall of Fame wide receiver. Cade Otton, he finally got involved. He had 8 targets last week, and it's good to see for a guy who plays virtually the whole game for him to finally get 8 targets. I think 8 targets is more than he's had in the last season and a half.
Yeah. Yeah, that's...
And so I guess in a desperate way, I would play him, but I wouldn't. I don't know. I need to see that on a more consistent basis before I feel good about it.
Yeah, it would depend on your situation. I mean, it's against Philly. I'm sure that Philly's, they're going to kind of try to shut out Mike Evans, of course, as everybody else does, which is why Godwin's blowing it up right now to a degree.
Oh, and also keep in mind, Philly they're bad generally in the secondary, but they're really bad against the slot.
So it could very well
Chris
be
Godwin is going to dominate this game.
I should have picked him as been my smash.
So,
but yeah,
I didn't dive deep enough into the game. I did not consider the slot aspect of Godwin. But yeah, so yeah, it's going to be an interesting game there. Let's see. Let's hit on maybe one more. Oh, the Chiefs at the Chargers. Obviously, when you talk about that, I don't think Herbert's going to play. But it is the Chiefs, so it could be one of those situations where they're going to try to push him back out there. I think if they were playing somebody like the Raiders,
somebody they wouldn't,
then they would let Heineke go out there and wouldn't even like chance it.
Yeah.
But because they're playing the Chiefs, maybe they want to try to push him out there. So we'll have to see how that goes.
Or maybe they start Heineke and just have Herbert as the backup, emergency or not emergency, but a backup just in case. And if Heineke starts floundering, they say, okay, we'll just run him out there and see what happens. And
let me ask you a serious question.
Okay.
In redraft, is Patrick Mahomes a streaming quarterback now?
Occasionally.
Well, that's what streaming is.
No, I know. Like he
has not broke. I heard this today on another podcast. He has not broke 20 fantasy points in a game. Or he hasn't gone over 20 fantasy points in a game if you combine last season and this season, more than 17% of the games.
Like personally,
that means 83% of the time he's under 20 fantasy points.
I've never been one that's drafted early enough to be able to get
like
Mahomes unless I drafted Josh Allen. And I didn't even worry about Mahomes. So,
right.
But saying that, like last year, I noticed a gradual decline in what fantasy wise, they still get wins. Which is,
that's the difference between NFL and fantasy.
Yeah, exactly. So
he's not a bad quarterback. He just doesn't have to. He doesn't have a Tyreek Hill to take the top off the defense. He doesn't throw the ball 900 yards downfield.
And they don't. They
have a good defense.
They have a great. Chris Jones is monstering out there. And they don't have to be.
So my question
is, he doesn't have to be a 40-point a week guy.
I don't need all the reasons why he sucks.
Yeah, no.
I just ask is.
He's 100% a streamer. He's not.
If you had to play him or Andy Dalton this week,
who are the Panthers playing?
The Panthers are playing the Bengals.
They're playing the Bengals
at home.
I'd play Andy Dalton.
See, that's what I'm talking about.
Because he's going to have to throw. He's got fantasy wise.
Yeah,
I think Dalton's going to put up 30 points or 25 points. Because they're both defenses that are kind of middle of the trash.
That's what I'm talking about.
They're going to have to throw the ball all the time. I mean, it's
in the last 2 weeks. Daniel Jones has been as good or better than Patrick Mahomes for fantasy.
For fantasy wise, yeah.
So I'm just saying.
Yeah, no, I know. That's where we got to draw our line. You got to figure out you got to let all personal go. You got to let NFL go.
If you took away his name and you looked at his last year up to now, you would sit here and go, well, this guy is not a every game starter.
He's not a first round draftable quarterback
or
second round,
third or
third
fourth
round
in a single QB. But but he's a QB2 in Superflex. I would say it's like if I had Josh Allen and Patrick Mahomes, I'd be happy. But if I had Patrick Mahomes and Jared Goff, I'd be mad.
You'd be shit. Yeah. You'd be losing. You'd be 0-3 right now.
And Justin Herbert's right there in that same boat right now. But a lot of that has to do with the offenses being run. So both these guys, I mean, if you drafted them, you probably are going to have to play them. But if you were able to get somebody like Jalen Daniels, or even I would play Andy Dalton over both these guys this week.
You got to start thinking like next year. If you're drafting Mahomes this year and you're hurting because he got you 14 points, he got you 16 points, you got to start thinking, if I'm going to go that early for a
I made a
quarterback-
trade last season. I had Jordan Love, and I traded Jordan Love and Keenan Allen like week 4 to my dad for Patrick Mahomes and like, I don't remember, like Tyler Lockett or something.
Yeah, it was,
And that sealed my fate for the home league. And my
lost
dad,
the rest of it.
He went to the championship.
He went to the playoffs, and the championship.
Yeah, he went to the championship against Terrell and lost.
Yeah.
But and so it was.
That'll tell you where name recognition can get you. Like,
Yeah.
if you
Well,
don't
it was scheduled too. I was looking at the schedule last season. I'm like, well, he's going to dominate now because this. And it's like, nope, it doesn't matter who he plays. He can play the fucking Washington, or he can play, I don't know, the Steelers, and he's going to put up 16 or 17 fantasy points.
Yeah,
and they're going to win, and he's going to win a Super Bowl, and everything's going to be great in Kansas City. But for my fantasy team, it's killing me.
And Rashee Rice is still going to get you 20 points.
Yeah, he's still going to feed Rice, and that's it.
Man, I'm loving this,
not
man.
Kelsey. Oh,
No.
speaking of that, so the Swifties have decided to start breaking down film and start trying to figure out why Mahomes is not throwing the ball to their precious Travis.
No.
And they've started tweeting at Patrick Mahomes. Or Xing or whatever the hell you call it now.
Yeah.
And asking him, like, they're like screenshots of what they think is an open Travis Kelce, going, why didn't you throw him the ball here? You're looking right at him, and yada yada yada. Now the thing is the one main one that I saw in the TikTok I saw that they're all focused on. Kelsey actually was not open.
Oh, wow.
There was a defender was literally right behind him, and had that ball been thrown, it probably would have been picked.
Yeah.
And so that just comes with the fact that they don't
know what they're looking
football.
at. Yeah.
But to them, it's because no one was in front of Kelsey. In their mind, it was like,
he's
he was wide
guy.
open.
He should catch this.
Yeah. But so now Patrick Mahomes has got the ire of the Swifties. And the other thing that I find funny is if you look at the tweets that get sent out, they all call him Patrick. Patrick, why didn't you throw this to Travis? And it's like, we all call him Mahomes.
Yeah. and a lot, it's Pat Mahomes.
Yeah, we all call him Pat Mahomes.
Nobody calls him Patrick.
His parents, maybe, and the Swifties.
Yeah,
I just find, I think it's endearing and funny. I don't think it's anything like I don't think they're like attacking him, which that might happen if it continues.
If it keeps going on, we're looking at week 5 and he's still only got 6 targets.
Yeah, all of a sudden they're going to start doxing his family. The Swifties they can get in it, man. They're like worse than, or not worse. They're as good as the FBI. They can dig into some stuff, but they have a whole network. So I have a lot of respect for you. Don't come at me.
Yeah, no.
All right, so yeah, it's I'm still playing Kelsey. I mean,
yeah, no.
4 targets, 3 targets, 5 targets. He's still involved, and the tight end landscape isn't one that I can just sit Kelsey. So
unless you
and he's still
accidentally grab somebody that's balling right on a super hot streak. I mean, would you play Kelsey or Cole Kmet this week?
Ooh, that's a good question.
You know what I'm saying? Like this,
I'd probably play Kmet if I had him.
So would you play Kelsey or who's the other one that's
well, Goddard. I would play Goddard. I would play Goddard over him. The real question is would you play Kelsey or Gesicki?
Yeah, that's another good
Panthers,
one. Interesting one. Or Conklin.
I'd probably stay with Kelsey. Conklin has had one good game. He hasn't been super consistent. There's not a ton of consistency there. Gesicki has had a couple games where he's getting targeted. And so Eric All, the rookie, is also getting targeted. So that does concern me a little bit for the future of what Gesicki can be. But I think that there's a better shot. But I think the problem is that Kelsey's going to have a game. And I think it's right around the corner.
So does Kelsey become a streaming tight end now?
Oh, he's absolutely a streaming tight end.
So now it's more of a,
I think the only person on this team who isn't a streamer currently is Rashee Rice.
Yep.
Now, if Pacheco was still healthy, he would be the other.
He would definitely be.
But I think everybody else is matchup dependent or depending on what your roster looks like. If I'm being honest.
Yeah. No, that makes a lot of sense. Yeah, definitely.
Let's see. All right, the other side of the ball, we talked about Herbert a little bit. I'm trying to fade him if I've got anybody that I feel better about. J.K. Dobbins, you're putting him out there
The shoe kind of fell a little bit this week, though.
It did.
His run, his average kind of fell a little bit.
It was against Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh is tough against everybody on defense, so there is that for sure.
And they got Kansas City this next week, which is kind of tough against the run and stuff. So I mean,
but his snap percentage is actually increased this week, so there's that.
And his attempts were the same essentially. He still had 15 attempts. So.
Yeah, and so I'm fading Gus Edwards right now.
Yeah.
I don't want to play him, and we'll talk more about the pass catchers here, but I don't want to play any of these pass catchers or tight ends.
Yeah, no, me
I will say that if I had to pick a tight end, somebody you may want to stash at the bottom of your roster is Will Dissly. Will Dissly has had 3 targets and caught 3 targets in the last 2 games. He is getting a little bit more usage, and Hayden Hurst is playing more of a percentages, but he's more of their blocking tight end.
Yeah,
and Dissly is becoming more of their receiving tight end. And you got to remember this offense is like the Falcons and like the Jets and some of these new players and new places and new coaches and new places. They're still evolving, and so as Herbert evolves more in this offense and whatever, then things are going to shift a little bit. And I think the shift is sliding towards Dissly to be a receiving tight end. Greg Roman's generally his offenses have always featured a pretty good tight end, even going back to when he was the offensive coordinator back when San Francisco. And so, of course, Mark Andrews when he was in Baltimore. And so I think that Greg Roman wants to, and his offense needs to utilize the tight end position. And I think Dissly is slowly becoming that guy. I'm not saying he's going to turn into Mark Andrews in his prime, but he is somebody that you could grab in a desperate, if you're super desperate for tight end, or if you got an extra roster spot and you're like, I want to stow a tight end that maybe starts picking up down the road. He's somebody I would be comfortable with grabbing.
Definitely.
Let's see. All right, let's hit on the. That was the. I guess I should have said that. No. I thought that was the Monday night or Sunday night game. All right, so we have 2 Monday night games again. So we're going to hit the Sunday night game first. We got the Bills, 3-0 at the Ravens, 1-2.
Man,
Yeah.
like a month ago, would you have imagined us sitting here right now saying, "Hey,
I
the Ravens
really
are 1-2."
thought this offense was going to start gelling a little bit faster.
Yeah.
And I thought they did look good against the Cowboys for most of that game, but that was a lot of rushing, and the Cowboys just couldn't stop Derrick Henry and whatnot. But the Bills are going to be a whole new animal because their defense is pretty damn stout.
Yep.
But you're playing both quarterbacks in this, Lamar and Josh Allen. There's no question. You're playing both running backs.
Yep.
You're playing Cook. You're playing Henry. Here's where it gets weird. The wide receiver, I'm playing Shakir if I've got him. I'm maybe Coleman. I'm playing Flowers, and that's pretty much it on the Ravens side of the ball. So those are the only ones that I'm really wanting to touch. Is there any other wide receivers in these groupings aside from Shakir, Flowers, and maybe Keon Coleman that you would be okay playing if you had to?
No, not really. I mean, most of it's, especially with the Ravens, it's kind of matchup dependent.
Yeah.
It's like all of a sudden Rashad Bateman or Nelson Aguilar gets a 50-yard bomb.
Yeah.
It's so hard.
I mean, Bateman hasn't killed you. If you go and look,
he's only getting 4 targets a game. So
you're not getting a ton of upside out of anybody.
Yeah,
but
exactly.
Flowers.
Yeah, no, there's nothing to. Flowers is the guy.
Yeah.
Essentially.
I'm playing Kincaid. I'm not touching any of the tight ends on the Bills side of the ball. Mark Andrews, we'll talk more about in a minute, but it has been.
It's been a rough road.
Yeah.
It's been a rough road for.
Yeah, I mean, he did have 5 targets and caught 4 of them in week 2, which was awesome. But even though it wasn't like a ton of points, it was still more than the garbage that he got in week 1.
It was Las Vegas too. So.
Yeah, that's true. And then Isaiah Likely he's strictly an upside play. What you're hoping is in Buffalo. To be honest with you, Buffalo could be that game where Likely becomes viable because they're going to be trying to utilize everybody they can out there, and likely could be the guy that's open. It could be the same type situation that happened when they played the Chiefs, where the Chiefs took Mark Andrews out, and they went they used Likely, instead. So, but I don't know.
Well, they limited Flowers that game too. I mean, he had 6 receptions, but it's only 37 yards. So I mean, if they shut these other receivers down, somebody's got to step up. So
right,
and Likely could be the guy, like you say.
Yeah. So I mean, if you're looking for an upside play at tight end, Likely might be your play. If you're in a matchup where you're slated to lose and you're like, I need something that could possibly set this on fire, then you went and grabbed Likely. I would throw him out there for that. All right, this is going to be a battle of attrition on Monday night. You got the Tennessee Titans versus the Miami Dolphins. I'm not touching. I don't care who's playing quarterback for the Dolphins, and I'm definitely not playing Will Levis. So they're both. Nope. That's a full fade. Achane, I'll play. I'm going to play him because that dude is explosive.
Yes.
If Mostert's out there and I'm desperate, but I don't know what Mostert is right now, and so I mean, if you got Mostert, you probably have been waiting for him to come back. You probably need him, so you're going to throw him in your lineup if he's active. How do you feel about Mostert? Would you rather play Mostert or Pollard this week?
Pollard,
100%.
Pollard. We're going to talk about him a little later. I think it's going to be a week.
Yeah. Okay. So you're high on Pollard. I'm fading everybody else on that.
I'm high on him this week. I'm not high on Pollard, but I'm high on Pollard this week. I just want to put that out there.
Gotcha. I mean, if you got Tyreek, you're playing him absolutely.
Yes,
if you got Waddle, you're playing him. If Huntley's out there, then things I think will be better. Ridley, you're going to play him. You're just going to hope that maybe Will Levis doesn't suck balls so bad that he can't get the ball to Ridley or Hopkins. But I feel like you're playing them both. I did find that I have a league where Hopkins was on waivers in a redraft. Yeah, so even after a good week, they threw him on waivers last week.
After this week, I would have dropped him week 2 if there was somebody out there, and then that's what I was just saying, last night. But it's obvious that Will Levis cannot feed both of them. It's either going to be Calvin Ridley or it's going to be DeAndre Hopkins,
right?
Because week 1 and 2. It was Ridley for 7, Ridley for 6, and then Ridley for 3 last week, but D-Hop got 8. So,
right.
And he only got 1 and 2 targets the week 1. So it's going to be one of the two. I feel
the only thing you can hope is Miami's defense is trash. So maybe this week
it's going to be a good.
He can get both.
Exactly. He might be able to make them both look good this week. Yeah.
Again, I've been saying this a lot about tight ends, but unless I'm desperate, I'm fading all tight ends.
Yeah, both sides of the ball.
Yeah, Okonkwo and Jonnu Smith. I tried to ride Jonnu last week, hoping that would work, and it did not. And so I will say that I probably feel a little bit better about Jonnu if Huntley's out there, because Huntley, he's used to throwing to the tight ends.
Yeah, that's true.
He came from Baltimore. He's used to looking for that tight end over the middle. So, Mark Andrews always had good games when Huntley was out there.
That's true.
So maybe not a full fade on Jonnu, but Okonkwo right now, you cannot play him. He just week 1, the only thing that saved him was a touchdown. So if you're playing Okonkwo, you better get a touchdown.
Yes, it's probably not going to happen, but you should probably.
And then if you get it, it's not going to be a good enough play that's worth the risk.
Yeah, exactly.
You're still only going to get like 7 fantasy points.
That, or it's going to be called back on a flag, and you're going to be so pissed at yourself and putting him in the lineup, and that's going to be his only completion the whole time, his only catch.
Geno Smith, I don't know if he's still doing it, but he was leading the NFL in passing percentage. And so he has been money in this new offense. He is clicking. And again, I keep saying it, he's also another offense that is still evolving.
Yep.
Jared Goff, you're playing him against Seattle. So both these guys are definitely plays. Geno Smith is a top streaming option. I would play him. I would probably play Geno at this point over Mahomes.
Yeah.
And I would definitely play him over Herbert.
Yeah, especially in this game, too. I think this is going to be, because the Lions' defense is kind of relegated to stopping the run and getting to the quarterback. But if Geno can get it off quick enough, he has enough options and enough talent.
Yes.
He can get it out there and get it off, and then you don't have to worry about that. So
Kenneth Walker, we still don't know whether he's going to be back. It doesn't look like it. It doesn't look good that it's not trending that way.
Yeah.
Is that what the cool guy said?
But if he's not going to be out there, smash on Charbonnet.
We're going to talk a little bit about that in a minute because I don't necessarily believe that against Detroit.
I just think he's going to get all the volume, and he's done well the last 2 weeks. I mean,
but it's Detroit.
Yeah, that's true too.
Jahmyr Gibbs, David Montgomery, absolutely.
Yep.
Those are two guys that are going to be in your lineup. DK Metcalf, yes. Amon-Ra St. Brown, yeah, and I'm still playing Jameson Williams. He had a bad week last week, but I'm not going to let 1 week take away from the 2 great weeks he had before.
Yeah.
And so, and in this matchup, I think they're going to really need him. And then Jackson Smith and Jigba. I mean, I'm going to put him out there. He went back to, getting only 3 targets last week. So I don't know what that means. I think it boils down to Lockett's usage. If you look at Lockett in week 1, he had 7 targets and Jigba had like 3.
Yep.
And in week 2, he had 2 targets and Jigba had 10.
Yep.
And then in week 3, he had 8 targets and then Jigba got back down to 3.
They're both number 2 receiver there.
Yeah.
You can't.
Yeah. So it's like
That means it's JSN's week.
That's true. That's true. So if you believe in the rotation,
It's an AB week. It's an AB now. AB. We're in the B week now. So
I think also some of it has to do with the emergence of Noah Fant. Noah Fant went 6 for 6 on his targets last week, and so that's another thing. If Noah Fant's going to be heavily involved, that's going to take away from either in Jigba or Lockett. So, but I would play Fant in this matchup if I have to. Laporta, as long as his ankle's good, yes, but I'm fading right if it isn't.
yes.
And so Tim Patrick is being brought up to the active roster. So I don't know what that means because, there's really no third wide receiver that's ever really emerged in this offense. So we'll see what Tim's
Jahmyr
still.
Gibbs is the 3rd wide receiver in this offense. Or
Fair,
Sam
or
Laporta.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so, but all right. Well, there's the key games for the week. So from there, we're going to roll into, if I can remember which button it is,
All of the buttons.
Baker's Bottoms.
No!
Oh,
That's Daniel's don'ts.
Unless they happen to be power bottoms.
What's a power bottom?
A power bottom is a bottom that is capable of receiving an enormous amount of power. Actually, Mac, you got it backwards. You see, a power bottom's actually generating all the power by doing most of the work.
Does the power have to do with the size or the strength of the bottom?
Now, Dennis, I've heard that speed has something to do with it. Speed has everything to do with it. You see, the speed of the bottom informs the top how much pressure he's supposed to apply. Speed's the name of the game. Right, buddy?
The answer to that is yes. In case anybody followed along this one, 100%.
so are we getting some fast bottoms?
So, speaking of fast bottom, in this ever-growing offense that we call the Chicago Bears, don't spit your beer out. But
No, I just you said offense, and I was like, and then I remember they actually
this last week,
I mean, it wasn't good.
but it wasn't.
But it was
the
productive.
bottom. It wasn't the bottom of it. But
Yeah.
they're slowly working some stuff out there, and I mean,
Yeah, they need to work out getting a new offensive coordinator.
yeah, and also getting rid of some of the people that are holding them back, like I don't know, DeAndre Swift or anybody else back there. But as we saw this last week, I don't know. I don't know if they were just like sitting in for some. I don't know what the reasoning was, but Roschon Johnson hasn't seen any time until this last week.
Yeah,
and he got out there and played 37% of the snaps.
I know what
and
it is. They saw the first 2 weeks of DeAndre Swift, and they're like,
We need somebody else to try. but it's crazy to me because I mean his first week back he played 37% of the snaps and he averaged 3.7 yards per carry. Which yes, everybody tell me it's trash, but
it's not trash.
It's the
but
best
double.
they have right now.
It's double what Smith's averaging.
It's better than than Swift. It's better than the little bit Herbert's done this year too. So I don't know. I kind of feel like this is kind of a step up, and this is going to be a good chance for Baker's Bottoms for you to grab somebody who's could essentially blow up in this offense. And if they're going to grow and get things worked out, they need a running back that's actually going to do something.
Yeah.
And I think this is going to help. I mean, he's owned in 16% of leagues, and you can get him right now off waivers in almost every league you're in. I mean,
I was paying attention to the trending because I figured another back's going to have to start getting utilized. You can't keep putting a guy out there like
That's not doing
Swift
anything.
that just is. He's a liability at this point. When it comes to running the ball, like that goal line carry, he was abysmal.
Yep.
Now, look, I get it. Their O line isn't the greatest either. Caleb Williams has been getting his face sacked off, so I know that there's more to it than that. But either way, somebody's got to come in there, and I think that
Something's got to turn it up. Yeah,
and
exactly.
so I put in, especially in Dynasty, I went out and tried to get him a lot last week, hoping that maybe he'd start
Something
getting
would
some
change.
more usage.
And this last week he just played it. The first week he's played this season. Like I said,
Yeah.
not uber productive, but when you got a shit O-line, you
Yeah.
can't expect a lot. But he's still doing better than both of the running backs have.
Right.
So I'm grabbing him everywhere.
Yeah.
Baker's bottom number 1 running back, Roshan Johnson. Grab him.
Right.
Number 2, we talked about him yesterday on the waiver show. I just brought him as an honorable mention, but little Jordan Humphrey.
Lil.
Jordan.
There's no T in it. Lil Jordan Humphrey.
Lil.
There you go.
Lil Jordan Humphrey. Dude's playing 70% or more of the snaps the last 2 weeks.
Yeah.
He got 5 targets 2 weeks ago or last week. I don't know.
I think he
You
had
consider-
8 last week.
Well, if you consider this week that just played.
Oh,
last
I got
week.
you, got you.
So 2 weeks ago he got 5, and
Week,
then last
you
week
say
he got
week
8.
2 and week 3.
There you go. Week 2 he got 5. Week 3 he got 8. And I just think he's increasingly become more of this offense. And with Bo Nix getting, I'm going to say better. I don't know if that's the word.
No, he's getting better. He's getting better.
With him evolving with this offense and everything, he's definitely being involved.
The theme of this podcast is evolution.
Evolution, yeah. It's all evolving.
It's all evolved.
But he's
forever.
averaged 9 points in a full point PPR, so I'm guessing 7 points in a half point PPR both
Yeah.
weeks. And that's
Look,
well
if
over
you're
Baker's
that
bottom, man.
desperate to play Lil Jordan Humphrey,
there it is.
then you're happy you got 7.
And
out
you're
of it.
grabbing him. I mean,
Yeah.
with all the injury we keep facing, I mean, we're missing Devonta Smith this week.
Yep.
More than likely, AJ Brown might or might not come back.
Yeah.
There's pieces you're going to have to fill in. I think this will be a safe play. You can pick them up, put them in your flex, and you won't have to stress too bad. And they're playing against. Ignore who they're playing against. Did not look into that. But anyways, and of course,
They're playing against the Steelers,
They're
aren't
playing
they?
against the Jets.
The Jets, yeah.
But that might actually be good because they're going to shut down their 1 and 2 receivers. Lil Jordan might have a good game.
No, right now, Lil Jordan is in the number 2 receiver.
That's true.
They have no run game and Cortland Sutton.
And
so
yeah, so it's
it's gonna be bad.
if it's
But
a Baker's
hey,
bottom and you get 5 out of it, that's all I got.
yeah,
That's all I got to shoot for.
hopefully you're hoping for 8 targets again.
That's all I'm shooting for. And then playing. This will be the only time I put him on here because I wanted him to do good, and last week Aaron Rodgers came out there and looked like a all-star, top-notch MVP.
Hey, now you're an all-star.
And in doing that, he utilized his tight ends. I
Yeah.
mean, Tyler Conklin got utilized. He had 6 targets, he had 5 catches for 93 yards. And I think this is just a glimpse in what's going to
And
come.
a tud. Didn't he have a tud?
He didn't have a tud, no. But I think this is just a glimpse in what's to come. He was tight end 4 on the week last week in a full point PPR.
Yeah.
Whatever that may be. But I just think we're going to increasingly be like, oh, why didn't I pick him up? Why didn't I have him?
Right.
And in an ever changing landscape of tight ends where you don't know who's going to be top 5, it's so insane. I think
Like I said, the only good thing about the tight end landscape this season is they've all sucked for the most part.
Exactly. There is no clear cut one yet.
And so like usually
So-
if I look at my tight end and he's got 4 points, I look at who I'm playing and their tight end has 3 and I'm like, all right.
Yeah.
So it's a wash.
Or even if it's 6.
Unless I'm playing
and
against Goddard.
4. Yeah. Goddard is kind of taking a step forward this year. But
he took all the tight end points last week.
he
himself.
did. He definitely did. But I just think that as far as the Baker's bottom is concerned, if you need a tight end and he's going to be out there, he's only owned in like 13% of
And
leagues.
Conklin has a ton of upside in that offense with that quarterback because we do, like you brought up, this is the guy who made Robert Tonyan a freaking household name.
And nobody's heard of him since then.
So Aaron Rodgers had Robert Tonyan on pace to break the tight end touchdown record for a hot minute at one point. So he will utilize the tight end as much or more than any quarterback will. So.
Exactly. So, and they're going to need it because, I mean, I don't know if they got a thing against Garrett Wilson or what. He targets him and he doesn't target him. And Alan Lazard, is only
that's-
the guy
yeah,
for the guy. For
here's
a while.
well, here's the thing. The thing that you just said, the Alan Lazard part is the reason Garrett Wilson is hit or miss because he's the only receiver on that offense right now that they have to hyper focus on defense.
Yeah.
And so it's like he's getting double and triple and stacked and that cover 2 and all that stuff. And so if Mike Williams, who's still working his way back from that injury,
Stepped up a little bit this last week.
Yeah, he did. And I think that as their season evolves, he's going to become more and more involved, and he will take some of the pressure off Garrett Wilson. And I think it's only going to increase for Garrett Wilson as he emerges as a threat on the other side of that ball.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And so, and if what you're saying, if what we believe is true with Tyler Conklin, basically Garrett needs other people to become a threat so that they can
quit covering him up. Yeah.
He can get a little breathing room.
Yeah, I get that.
So, all right. So
there it is. You got Roschon Johnson, Lil Jordan Humphrey,
Thank you.
and Tyler Conklin.
Like it. All right. Let's hit the don'ts.
No, God! No, God, please, no! 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 No!
That's the way I've been feeling about how Anthony Richardson has played the last couple of weeks.
Yep.
I was under the belief, I've said it, during the offseason, that if Anthony Richardson stays healthy and he plays a whole season, he will be a top 5 fantasy option. My concern with him wasn't his ability to score fantasy points. It was always his ability to stay healthy. So what has happened, in my professional opinion, is that the Colts also were worried about him getting hurt, and they said, no more running for you.
Don't run.
Which is fine if you have a quarterback who is accurate. But when you have a quarterback who can't complete 50% of their passes, and you take their superpower away from them, their ability to run and make things happen, then you get what's happening right now with the Colts. You get a below average quarterback who is destroying your fantasy teams.
Now, if you average in his interceptions to his passes completed, he's a little over 50%.
Well, him and Levis would be MVP candidates at
I'm
that
telling
point.
you, he's had 6 interceptions so far this year.
How many has Levis had?
75.
16.
As many, I believe. I'm pretty certain it's pretty close to that, if not more.
And now Richardson is playing
5. He said 5.
Oh, so wow. Richardson's out intercepted him. Wait a minute. I don't.
They intercepted each other, and we'll put it that way.
But Richardson's playing the Steelers this week. The Steelers are tough against everything, especially quarterbacks. Mm-hmm. They are currently the toughest matchup in schedule adjusted defense, and they just shut everybody down. And so I don't think Richardson's going to be able to throw the ball. And if they're not going to let him run the ball, then you don't want him in your lineup. I would bench him so hard, which means he's going to put up 40 fantasy points. He's going to run for 200 yards and 3 touchdowns. But that's the only way he's going to score points. I will say that. If Richardson has a good week, it's going to be because they finally say get out there and run. But I really think the Steelers, are going to be able to handle that, in their own way as well. So, Tomlin is maybe the best coach currently in the NFL. And I think that right now they're clicking on all cylinders on defense. So I'm fading Anthony Richardson as hard as I can. I am avoiding all Chargers pass catchers against the Chiefs. Now, I want to preface this by saying one of them is going to have an okay fantasy week. Lad McConkey or Quentin, what's his face?
Johnston.
There it is. And that's probably it. I don't really know of any others that, or Palmer's not. He may be back, but he has been nothing. But especially if Heineke's out there, but even if Herbert's out there, I'm just fading him because right now I don't know what to do with him. It's like I would rather play. I would just go get Jennings and play him in the spot that I'm going to try to play one of these receivers.
Yeah,
I would rather go get Jordan Humphreys, possibly. I just don't want anything to do with it. It's frustrating and it's annoying. And so I do expect, like I said, one of them. I don't think any of them are going to light up the scoreboard. I think one of them will get you 7 or 8 points, and the others will get you 0. But I just don't know who it's going to be. And so for that reason, I am fading all the Chargers pass catchers, tight ends included. And then this one also comes with a caveat. I am fading Zach Charbonnet against Detroit. Now, that's if he's the starter, obviously. If he's not the starter, you're definitely fading him.
Yeah.
I would play Kenneth Walker if he gets full practices. If at the end of the week he's practicing in full and everything looks good, you're going to play Kenneth Walker because he's just that guy. But you just know what? James Conner's a pretty damn good running back, and he got shut down by Detroit last week. And so Detroit is currently, by a vast margin, the number one fantasy defense against running backs right now. And they were last year as well. It's just what they do. And so unless you have a top running back, you're not going to, you just don't need to play your running backs against Detroit. Avoid at all costs.
Yeah.
And I don't care how much volume Zach Charbonnet gets. First of all, he's not doing great on the ground to begin with. So you better hope he gets 8 targets if he doesn't, if he is the starter. But they're shutting down the run too. I mean, James Conner is a bell cow. He gets all the work out of the backfield, passing and running, and he was trash last week.
He was definitely trash last week.
So my
Hurt
don'ts,
me a couple places.
my don'ts are Anthony Richardson, the Chargers pass catchers, and Zach Charbonnet. Now I will say if Kenneth Walker comes back, and then I'll scratch that one. I won't claim that as a win. But if Zach Charbonnet plays, he starts, then he will be part of my toast to roast, if that makes sense.
I get it.
All right. Do we have anything that has on there that has to do with smashing? Smash. What? Oh, that's a rim shot. There is. Oh, the kaboom. All right. Well, so we're going to do our smashes of the week. Kaboom. There it is. I like that.
That works.
All right. I'll kick it off with my quarterback smash of the week. He had a bad week this last week against the Minnesota defense, but the Minnesota defense is pretty damn good. Good news for him. He's playing a defense that's not so good. And his name is C.J. Stroud, and he's playing the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Oh, yeah.
Who are floundering and sinking and dying. And so I think C.J. Stroud is going to get back on track this week. He's going to go out there and have a top fantasy week and dominate the Jacksonville Jaguars. Who is your quarterback smash of the week?
My quarterback smash of the week is Mr. Joseph Burrow, who showed up this week a little bit against Washington, of course, who's got
showed up a lot
defense.
of bit. He put up over 30 fantasy points.
He's increasingly getting better from week to week, and we know Burrow is not Burrow until week 3, and then the rest of the season
until he gets hurt.
They're playing until the injury comes. But right now we're riding the high. Whee!
And their defense is a garbage can on top of baby shit.
And that's the glorious part about this is they're playing Carolina, who has got a reignited offense, and their defense is still their defense.
Right.
So it can go both ways. And it's going to be a high pass, both sides of the ball, 20 points, 30 points, 25, 30 points. It's going to be all back and forth.
It's going to be Big Dick Dalton slanging against Burrow.
Shady Burrow, Slim Burrow.
Slim Burrow.
Slim Burrow is what they call him. So yeah, I just think Joe Burrow is going to go out there and light it up, and Andy Dalton's going to go out there and light it up. And
I saw a meme today. It said that Burrow is 0-3 since he decided to look like a lesbian. So anyway,
no, that makes sense. I see where he's coming from there.
All right. So Joe Burrow is your quarterback smash of the week. Who is your halfback smash of the week?
So I want to, what is it you say, preface this with?
Yes.
I'm not a Tony Pollard fan. I do not think that he's a great running back in the league. I don't. He's had good weeks, and he has dominated in time from time. But this week they're playing Miami, and Miami is just so soft against running backs. Zach Charbonnet, who is on your don'ts this week, put up 2 touchdowns and 80-something yards on like 15 carries last week. He dominated against Miami last week.
Yes.
And I just, we look at previous weeks before that, James Cook played week 2 and just, I think he put up 9,000 points that he's still scoring right now in Miami. Tony Pollard is good enough.
God, I wish Achane could play against Miami.
That's what I'm saying. If Achane was on Tennessee, this week would be all Achane, period. the whole time. But I got to go with Tony Pollard.
Yep.
I gotta smash Tony Pollard this week. I think he's going to go out there against my better judgment of not liking Tony Pollard as a running back. I think he's going to go out there and just do points on points on points. And I don't want to. I had bad smashes last week, so I'm not playing my heart anymore. I'm done with that. We're going for straight logic. He's going to dominate.
We should always go with straight logic, bro.
I do most of the time, but I want to throw a real quick honorable mention out there just because it's a running back that I think is just dominating right now. He fits the offense. He's making his quarterback look amazing, but Aaron Jones is still Aaron Jones. Him and Kamara are drinking from the fountain of youth and just doing something different out there.
Yeah.
And he's got a decent matchup against his former team, Green Bay.
Yeah.
And I think it's going to be like one of those, what they call like a
revenge game.
A revenge game. And he's going to get 2 touchdowns and 6 receptions.
They kind of did him dirty.
Yeah,
they kind of did him dirty.
They kind of did.
Yeah, because it was like from what came out after it happened. Is initially they were going to sign Jacobs and keep Aaron Jones. They were going to keep them both.
Yeah.
And then something changed. And they were like, "Nah, we don't want you to get out."
Yeah,
and then they
done.
immediately signed Jacobs as soon as they booted him. It was like, boom, sign the paper.
Yeah.
And so
So in my heart of hearts says that Aaron Jones is going to go out there and smash for all right reasons.
So you got double smash.
I do. I really do. Like I want to smash both of these guys this week, and because I think it's going to happen, and I don't want to miss out on saying I knew that was going to happen. So Tony Pollard is my smash, but so is Aaron Jones. They're both my tight end smashes.
Okay, well I have 4 halfback smash. No, I'm just kidding. My halfback smash is Jerome Ford against Las Vegas. We just saw what Chuba Hubbard did against Vegas, and I think Jerome Ford is going to have a get back on track, get right game. He does have the Predator Watson as his quarterback, and that offensive line is a little sus, but I think that this will be a good week for Jerome Ford for him to go up against that soft rush defense against the Raiders and do his thing. And then my wide receiver smash is somebody who we've been wanting to smash all season and wanting to smash like personally because of his fantasy production, and that is Brandon Ayuk. He's playing against New England at home. I think that the murmurs are getting louder, and this is going to be a game where I think that his, I kind of felt it last week when I called when I talked about how Derek Carr was going to focus on Olave because the murmurs were so loud. Everybody's like, "Why isn't he? They're winning. Why aren't they throwing to Olave?" Now Derek Carr wasn't good overall, but he did at the beginning of that game. You could clearly tell there was an intention to get the ball to Olave.
Yeah,
and I think we could have a similar situation going on in San Francisco this week with Brock Purdy. That they come out, they come right out of the starting blocks with their scripted game plans. It could just be Ayuk right off the cuff.
Yeah.
And to try to just shut everybody up for a week or two. And so this could be a 10 target, which it was a 10 target game last week with Ayuk. He only caught 5. So, I think he wants to get back on track. I think the team wants him to get back on track, and I think everybody wants everybody to shut up about him not being on track. So,
but the similar thing too is the defense is. I mean, they're kind of scheming against Ayuk, knowing he signed the contract, knowing his skill from last year, and that's why Jawan Jennings just blew up.
Well, I mean, I think it has more to do with the fact that there's no other threats on the field.
And they're missing Kittle, and they're missing Debo, and all
and they're
that stuff,
missing CMC. So I think that's easier for them to hyper focus on defense. But like I said, he still got 10 targets, so he was still open enough to get the targets from Purdy. Now, I haven't gone back and watched all those targets. I don't know whose fault it was.
Who was it? Yeah.
Yeah, whether it was him missing the catches or Purdy making bad passes. But
I know at least one
Purdy was on
bad
one.
Yeah, I know. At least one of them was really bad on Ayuk. He was in his hands and he dropped it.
Yeah, and so
at least one.
And I think, there's got to be some stress for him. I don't know that he's a true alpha type guy. He's not. Debo's like a true alpha. That dude that dude wants to be the man. He wants the ball in pressure situations. Ayuk could have a little bit of that Calvin Ridley syndrome where he needs a bigger name on the other line in order for him to be able to kind of just be a wallflower and do what he does.
Yeah.
And now that he's got the contract, he's been the focus of attention all offseason, and now he's on the billboard.
Yeah.
His name's in shining lights. I think maybe that's putting a little more added pressure that he's going to have to learn to adjust to.
And I mean, they're 1-2 now? The 49ers
Yeah,
are.
yeah, so they're looking to get back on
This
track,
is a get
yeah.
right game too. They got
Yeah.
to get right. Something's got to happen here. So
And so,
I get that.
Yeah, so they're going to go out there and I think they're going to put it on New England, and I think Ayuk's going to be a big part of that. So who is your wide receiver smash?
when your quarterback smashes this week, it's going to be partly because of my wide receiver smash.
Okay.
Nico Collins is going to just blow it up this week.
He always be blowing it up, though.
Last week was a little soft. Last
Yeah,
week
well,
was
their
a little
whole
soft.
offense was soft.
So I'm thinking this is going to be we're going to turn this around. I mean, they're playing against the Jaguars, like you specified.
Yes.
This is going to be so ugly. It might even look worse than what the Bills
I think
just did
this
for them.
game's going to get people fired. That's how bad I think it's going to be for Jacksonville.
Yeah, so I think that Nico Collins is going to be on the dividend side of this. He's going to pay big on this.
Yeah.
Of course, Diggs is going to as well. I mean, he had like 8-9 targets last week. He had a big game,
but they
last
were only
week,
like 3 yards a target, right?
for the most part, yeah. And then, of course, Tank Dell's going to pay from it as well. They don't really have much of a tight end option out there now. Akins is out, Schultz is out there a little bit, but
Yeah.
he hasn't stepped up this
No,
year.
because
Like,
they
it
got
hasn't been a lot of it.
because Diggs is basically taking all the targets that went to Schultz
That
last
went to
season.
Schultz,
Yeah.
so, but I mean, I think Nico Collins is going to come out here and just going to blow, similar to what he did 2 weeks ago. Is going to blow it off the frames. He's going to have a big game. He's going to score big, and both of our
Your
smashes
mom
are going
blew
to
it
pay
off
out.
the frames.
She did twice, but we don't hold that against her. And then my tight end smash this week.
Hold on, I was going to say I'll hold something against her, and I was like, I don't know.
Well, I mean, that's what she blew off the frames. She knows what's going on. She listens to our podcast. She doesn't, but if she did, Mama, I love you. Anyways,
And I'm sorry.
but I think that this next week, so I know New Orleans has a tough defense, but they're not exactly super tough against the tight end. And last week,
Yeah, they're not, which is surprising. I didn't even realize it till we were looking at some statistics, and I was like, dang, I didn't realize New Orleans has been giving up basically bleeding points to tight ends.
and guess who they're playing next week?
Who's that?
The Falcons.
Oh, so Kyle
With
Pitts.
Kyle Pitts, who
What? Don't say it. Well, first of all,
Oh.
calm down on how you're over there talking like Kyle Pitts is Kelsey in his prime. It's
getting
more
there.
like
He's trying.
you know who they're playing against? Kyle Pitts.
They're playing Kyle
but I'm
Pitts.
hoping that this week Kyle Pitts actually do something. That's how you should have went about that.
Kyle Pitts has done throughout this year so
Exactly.
far.
He's
but
done since he's been in the league.
he's gotten 3 targets in the end zone, not just in the red zone this year so far. Now, one of them got
how many has he caught
shafted
in the end zone?
Well, just one, but
Okay.
he got shafted this last week on a PI that should have been called, but it wasn't. But I just think this is going to be a get right week. Kink is starting to work him out and figure out that
Look, I
Kyle Pitts
don't
is a
hate
big
your
deal.
pick. I just want you to calm down a little bit on
It's
how you.
Kyle Pitts weekend, baby. It's all Kyle Pitts to the moon. It's gonna happen. Be ready. That's all I'm gonna say.
all right.
I'm gonna get a shirt that says "Be ready, Pitts to the moon."
All right.
Nobody's gonna know what it means, but
Well, my tight end smash. Earlier, you said that you're not going to go by your heart anymore. You're going to start using logic, and I said we should always be using logic. And then I just remembered who my tight end smash of the week was, and I don't really know the logic behind it, except that, believe it or not, Buffalo has been a bit soft against the tight end.
yeah,
And it's really the only position that they're soft against. And therefore, I am going to proclaim that this is Mark Andrews' reemergence. This is his reemergent into the top tight end realm. He is going to go out there and have him a week against Buffalo. And I have a lot of feelings that Baltimore right now is scrambling. They don't know what's going on. And I think that the first thing they're going to realize is they're not getting their best pass catcher involved in the game enough. And I think that they're going to create a game plan that's going to focus on that. Now, I did mention when we were talking about Likely, how he could possibly be the beneficiary of this. So, I understand both sides of this coin. I understand that there's a chance that Mark Andrews gets bracketed again, like he did with the Chiefs, and then Isaiah Likely becomes the open guy. But even if he gets bracketed again, like he did against the Chiefs, if you look at the film, there were plenty of opportunities for Mark Andrews to be involved in that Chiefs game. They just didn't get the ball to him. And I have a gut feeling that this is going to be the week that Lamar says, I got to get my dude back on me. And we got to get back in sync.
Well, Lamar must not have him in fantasy.
That's probably what it is.
That's what it is. He's got likely. No,
Well,
he doesn't have likely either.
I got to figure out what league Lamar is in. I got to figure out who has Andrews. And then I'm going to be like, I need you to trade him, Mark Andrews, straight up for Jonnu Smith. Just do it and get him over there.
Yep.
Get him on his team.
It definitely needs to happen. I need Mark Andrews to step up. I've got him in two leagues.
I got him like 2,000 leagues.
He was on my bench this last week. Thank goodness. I played Tyler Conklin in one of them. Actually,
man, that's a
crazy enough.
That's balls of steel right there, brother.
It was more of a gut play. Like I got to try something different. I need an upside. Hopefully something turns out. I don't even know who I played him. I played him this week in the other league, but it's getting tough now. Like I'm
going to go ahead and draw the line.
Like we said with
if
Kelsey,
he has a bad week this week, he's going on my bench next week.
He's going to stay there.
I don't care if next week the team that they're playing announces that they're not going to cover him, that they want Baltimore to throw him the ball every time, and they'll make sure he catches it.
Yeah.
Even if
They'll
the defender has to
carry it over to
directly.
him,
even if they come out and say that in a press conference, I'm still benching him.
Yeah,
because at this point I'm like, he's toast.
It's out of principle. It's like
principle.
You're done.
Yeah.
I'm not doing this anymore.
Yes.
I'm tired of having my heart broken.
I'm so tired.
It's like
of
being in a relationship you're not part of.
Yes.
She doesn't love me, so
Yes.
why? So you got to be like, I'm done with this. I'm done. Just cut it off. Yeah.
And so I can't, if it doesn't happen this week, I can't take it anymore. I'll be starting Gesicki or I don't care, Jonnu.
Go get Conklin.
I have grabbed him. So, but yeah, so there it is. My smashes are quarterback CJ Stroud, halfback Jerome Ford, wide receiver Brandon Ayuk, and tight end Mark Andrews.
Joe Burrow, of course, going to smash this week. Tony Pollard, Nico Collins, and Kyle Pitts. And honorable mention, Aaron Jones, not Andrew Jones, Aaron Jones. I did A. Jones. I don't know why I thought Andrew.
Well, I was like, dang, Andrew Jones, Hall of Fame baseball player for the Panthers.
Oh, yeah. Wait, baseball player for the Panthers?
I mean, the holy crap, the Atlanta Braves.
We don't know what we're talking about here.
I have no idea.
But if anything we say
helps you get to that average place in your league, then that means we did our job. Because if you finish average,
you didn't lose.
That's exactly right. And so I hope you guys have a good one out there. And for those of you who are interested in DFS, we will be back either Thursday or Friday, depending on our schedules, to break down some DFS advice. So y'all be good out there. We'll talk to you
later.